Welcome to the Average Nobodies podcast, the ultimate home for wrestling enthusiasts, beer drinkers, movie quoters, and pop culture connoisseurs. Here are your hosts, Matt and Ryan.
Welcome to the Average Nobodies podcast number 55 for November 16th, 2017. On today's show, we are breaking down the last two episodes of The Walking Dead, 8.3 Monsters and 8.4 Some Guy. You can chat with us on Twitter, at Average Nobodies. Toss us a like on Facebook, at Average Nobodies, and heart all of our Instagram pictures. Again, that's at Average Nobodies. Don't forget, this podcast is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and YouTube. My name is Matt, and with me, as always, is
Ryan. I'm here. You know, Matt, your name in French is Tyrion Matthews' last name.
Really?
That's how it's pronounced. Mine is the same. I don't know. It doesn't.
That's funny. So
my name is just the same across all languages, I guess.
A little behind the scenes thing here. I'm a big idiot, and Ryan and I had been talking for a while on another episode on episode 155. This is episode 55.1. This is episode 55.2. Where we're actually recording it, and Ryan came in with his name is Ryan, but it's also in French. It's the same exact thing. It's just Ryan, and then we got into this whole offshoot of like how crazy it is that Japanese and Chinese symbols. I'm not gonna get into it. You had to be there, and you're not gonna be there because I did not hit record.
Hey, it's a special moment between friends.
So, but I'm glad that now I know what my name would be in French. That's pretty fascinating. Yeah,
Matthew.
Pretty cool. I like that. Shit. Well, what went on the past week? We didn't record last week. Ryan, you were jet setting down in Mexico. Is that how they say it?
It is, yeah. That's how they actually want you to pronounce it over there. It's not offensive at all. They really enjoy that.
Okay. Good.
No, but yeah, my fiance and I, Holly, flew to San Diego.
Okay.
The whales. It translates roughly to whale's vagina.
Yes,
I believe.
Yes.
But we flew there. One of her friends that she taught English in South Korea with, who now lives out in California, he was getting married.
Okay.
And got married to a lovely woman, Monica. Congratulations, Charlie and Monica, in Mexico. So flew into San Diego, spent a night there, drove down to Mexico, spent 2 nights there, came back to San Diego, spent another night there, and then I was back home Monday night. It was terrific. San Diego is just gorgeous. Stayed in Ocean Beach, which is right on the water. Everyone's so happy and like carefree. And I mean, I don't know what they do, for jobs. I didn't really see many people working besides like if you were in a restaurant.
Yeah. It's
just like on Monday morning, Holly and I went down to like Ocean Beach, like the actual beach at like 9 a.m. There was a lot of people there.
Yeah.
For like 9 a.m. on a Monday. Like, where are you guys? Is anybody working?
I heard the weather there is terrible. It's just awful.
Oh God, terrible. It's like volcanoes and tornadoes and no, it's perfect. It's like a postcard every day. Like bad weather is like breezy and 60. And they're like, "Oh, this is chilly." I'm like, "This is amazing."
Yeah, shit, that's awesome. I've never been to California. I really want to go.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend San Diego. Ocean Beach is really, really cool. And when we were there in Mexico is kind of like the Wild West. Like, not a lot of rules in Mexico. So we drove over the border. So when you drive in, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we literally just drove through, and they had like flashes going off, like they were taking a picture of your car, but there's probably no film in the camera. Like, they don't care.
It's just someone in a box with a flashlight, and they're just like flashing the cars.
Turns it on and off. So you just get right into Mexico. You're there. And then the first thing I noticed, actually, literally, we were in Mexico for 5 seconds, and the groom was actually the one who drove us there. And he's driving, and he's like, "Welcome to Mexico." Oh, there's a man on the freeway. And it was just like a guy walking on the freeway, and everyone had like rocks in their hands.
Why?
And I'm just like, I don't know. I didn't know if like they get an urge, they throw a rock at you.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it was crazy. Everyone I ran into, it could not have been nicer though. Everyone was really cool. We stayed in a place called Ensenada,
mm-hmm.
which is kind of like it's got like a big city feel. Like, it's got a lot of restaurants, got a lot of shops, and I think it's because that's where a lot of the cruise ships dock.
Oh, right.
We happened to be staying there. The first night was one of the days at the cruise ship dock. So all the markets are open, all the stores are open, all the restaurants are going crazy. And we went to this place called Papas and Beers.
Mm.
So it's like Papas, Papas,
Yep.
the letter Y, which is and in Spanish, and then beers, beers you drink. So we got there at 11 a.m. Because Friday was the rehearsal dinner, and we're gonna go to a couple wineries. So we're like, you know what, we'll just go, we'll get some food in us, maybe have a couple beers, get the day started. And all of a sudden, these guys run out, like people who work there, blowing whistles like referees and they have like holsters, and in the holsters are bottles of tequila.
Excellent.
And they're just running out, screaming, yelling, like grabbing anyone they see, like literally like one guy would bear hug the person, and the other guy would like hold the mouth open and pour tequila down their throat.
Excellent.
It was insane. It was so crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, now I wasn't hungover. I was ready to have a day of drinking. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I've always said there's not a good time for tequila. Like, it's never a good time to have tequila.
No.
But there is a bad time.
No.
That bad time is 11 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden, like, I looked to my right, and like they had people like selling stuff. Some guy's got a 49ers poncho that he's selling, and I'm like, I can just see like my life is over. Like, I can see myself buying this poncho, chugging tequila at 11 a.m., and then that's it. I'm gone. Mexico's got me.
Yeah.
But it was pretty wild. That was a crazy place, and that was 11 o'clock in the morning. I can't imagine what 11 o'clock at night looks like.
That's nuts. I have a couple like interactions with Mexico. I went to Cancun once for a spring break type, generic spring break trip. It was a wild experience. And then the other time I stopped there, I was on a cruise. We just stopped in like literally for like a half hour. I went on the land and I just got back right on the ship. It wasn't a very good place, but area of Mexico. But when I went to Cancun, it was a wild time, man. I mean, they know how to cater to tourists. I will say that. So, and actually all the people I went with got sick except for me.
Oh.
I feel like that's a big
poisoning?
no, yeah. Well, not food poisoning, but they you're not supposed to drink the tap water in some areas.
Oh.
And so they did, and I did too, but I don't know. I didn't. Iron stomach Matt, they called me.
You couldn't get sick if you wanted to.
No, well, actually, that's not true. I get sick all the time, like from food. But I guess just Mexico. Me and Mexico mesh very well, so sounds like a lovely time. How far away were you from Tijuana?
We drove through Tijuana.
Okay, I was gonna say because Tijuana is like the first city right over the border, no? Or like close to it.
That's like the first. You have to like if you're going anywhere, like if you're going through the California side, you drive through Tijuana.
Okay.
But it's like the coastline over there is gorgeous. And property is so cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, cool. If you don't know what you're doing, you buy stuff in the wrong area, you're in trouble. But
you're in the cartel all of a sudden, and you're smuggling drugs up your ass through the border. And,
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what I did.
But hey, I got a lanai, and it costs as much as an apartment in New York.
Oh, it's unreal. it's just, it was like every place was really nice. Ensenada was cool, and then coming back, Holly and I just walked, like we crossed the border walking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the guy who drove us back it's called like a century pass.
Yeah.
So if you're going back and forth in the border, because they said you won't coming back into America. Pretty much no matter what time, what day, you're going to wait 3 hours to get back in.
Shit.
Like the border is just always so busy. And one of the border crossings there is the busiest in the entire world.
Damn.
But if you get a century pass and you go in it's like a, what's that thing you used to get at Six Flags?
It's like Fast Pass?
Yeah, it's like a fast pass. So you go on a much shorter line, but like when they go in and they'll inspect your car and stuff, if someone's in the car that doesn't have it, they'll like kick you out of line.
Oh.
So me and Holly have it. So like we got in line and he drove until he was almost there, and we just got out of the car and we just walked across the border. Like you just go in this little turnstile, they check your passport, and then you're back in the United States.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then this was So it was a good time. California's awesome. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah. So while you were in Mexico, I was spending my last couple weeks at my current job. As you know, I put in my 2 weeks. I'm starting a new job in a couple weeks. But I was in the kitchen, right? And a lot of times there's like people that rent out some rooms at Save the Bay. and they'll bring their food. And like after they're done with their food, like they have breakfast, they'll put it in the kitchen, and like anybody can have up for grabs. That morning, there happened to be like bagels and cream cheese and some fruit and shit like that. So I grabbed a bagel and I was toasting it, and I was gonna put some cream cheese on it. And this lady walks in who didn't work at Save the Bay. She was just there with a group. And she's like, "Oh, what smells good?" And like before I had a chance to like even say anything, I like motioned to the toaster, and I was gonna say like I'm toasting a bagel. She's like, "Oh, toast! I love the smell of toast." And I'm like, "Oh, it's a bagel." And she's like, "Yeah, I love toast." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a bagel. I'm gonna put cream cheese on it." And then I popped it up and I put it in the plate, and she's still standing there. She goes, "Oh, I'm gonna go home and make some toast." I'm like, "It's a fucking bagel. Like, can you not see that it's a bagel? Like, I don't know."
Please acknowledge what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, like it was wild. I think I was just invisible, and I think what I thought for a second I was dead, and that I was just like there on my own. And she walked into the kitchen and just noticed that there was something in the toaster, and she was like, saying to herself, she's like, "Oh, I love the smell of toast." Like, not even acknowledging like I was there. Like, just it was wild. And then she just walked out, and I was like, "Okay, well."
Did you see her again that day?
Nope, didn't see her. Oh, I mean, but she was with one of the groups, so she just went back in the room. It was unbelievable. So, my bagel.
That's so strange.
Yeah, it was very strange, and I couldn't believe what was happening in front of me. She was just like, "Yep, I love toast." And who loves the smell of toast?
It's like it's just
That's not a thing, right? I mean, I know like
bread?
freshly baked bread has a smell, right? If you're baking like cinnamon buns, that has a smell. Like, I'm trying to think of like bread things. If you're baking like donuts, that has a smell. Toast is just like,
toast doesn't have a smell.
it doesn't, right? It just like it doesn't even invoke like, unless I know what I'm putting on it. I'm excited for toast. I'm not like excited about the smell of toast. You know, I don't know. Well, it's not like you're gonna walk into Yankee Candle and you're gonna see like toast smelled candle. Although honestly, there's some fucking weird smells in Yankee Candle.
There are.
There's some weird ones. So, anyway.
Toast could be the new
maybe she's onto something. Maybe this was like that moment in my life where like when I have my E True Hollywood story down the road, I'm like, yeah, I made $1 billion off of, scented candles that smell like toast. This lady walked into the kitchen and was like, "I love the smell of toast." And I cornered the market.
That's it. Or nobody else.
Yep. All right. Want to talk some Walking Dead?
Let's do some TV Club. We got 2 episodes today.
Yeah. And I'm kind of glad that we have these 2 episodes to do, because we were talking before the episode. I think these 2 are my favorite of the season.
Me too.
Definitely.
They have them for me, yeah.
They have the most. It's like Walking Dead has this bad habit, especially recently, of having episodes that are all content and no action, and all action with no content. And I feel like both of these episodes have both in spades. There's a lot of both. There's a good balance. So yeah, let's start with 8.3 Monsters, directed by Greg Nicotero and written by Matthew. How do you say that last name?
I think it's Negrete.
Negrete and Channing Powell. We know Greg Nicotero. He has directed a lot of Walking Dead episodes. Some of the best episodes of The Walking Dead.
Yeah. His usually, and I was, like doing these 2 back to back, and obviously we'll get to the second one in a minute. But I was surprised, like with what happened in the second one, that they didn't have him direct that one, because usually his name attached to an episode means like something big's gonna happen.
Right.
But not that the episode he did was bad, but I think the main thing I want to talk about this episode, is it time to worry a little bit about Daryl?
See, I don't know. I would have said yes if Rick in the 8.4 was more worried about him. We'll talk about that, when we start talking about that. But in 8.3, we open up to Morales and Rick chatting how the episode 2 ended, right? Mm-hmm. And Daryl just like sneaks up behind Morales and sticks him with an arrow, and kills him. And after Rick and him are like kind of having a heart to heart, and you kind of see like Morales I feel like he was on the line. He was like leaning back and forth between, what Rick has been through. You could tell like he had that moment of vulnerability when Rick was explaining what happened to Glenn, and that Glenn had a wife since the last time they met, and she was pregnant, and she watched Glenn's head get bashed in with Lucille.
Yep.
So you see Morales on the edge, and like you're like, can Rick like sway him to like stop what he's doing and like for your kid, like for the baby, like and for like for us, like join our cause or whatever. But then Daryl made the choice for him and stuck him with an arrow.
Holly brought up a good point. We were talking about it, and she said, like, Rick could have easily been Morales.
Yeah,
like
totally.
it's a very fine line between him not joining the Saviors. I mean, it's easy to look at Negan as this awful guy who abuses power and stuff, but he's got a lot of guys working for him.
Yeah,
and it'd be foolish to just blanket statement that these are all awful guys. They always have been. They always will be. Like, that's not the case. Like, these guys came from different backgrounds. Obviously, Morales came from Alexandria. He was in Rick's camp. So, I mean, and you're also talking about the apocalypse. Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of things that are thrown out the window, and you kind of have to do what you have to do to survive. So, I mean, I don't know that maybe Rick necessarily saw that. He could have, whereas it's like you can't be mad at Morales for being who he is. They could have been him. So, I didn't really think about that at first, but Holly brought it up. I thought it was a good point.
Yeah, and I think Rick, in the chaos that is this world that they live in now, I think that Rick he has a soft spot for people that he's met along the way. Like, he knows that guy. Like, he understands what he's about. Like, a lot of times Rick's aggression comes from his uncertainty of what these people are going to do to his people, right? So in Morales, he knows this guy. He's he shared a campfire with him a long time ago, but he knows this guy. Like, he's a good guy. He had a family at one point. He's just like Rick, right? So he's he's confident in like talking this guy down. But you're right. I mean, he could have easily been on the other side of that. And I would make the argument that Rick could have easily been Negan.
Yeah.
I mean, in an alternate reality, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he loses Carl. Maybe he loses everybody, and he's just on his own. Who knows? Like, he could easily be a Negan character,
I agree.
So I think it's like that. And Daryl is like, the most pragmatic person in this situation. He's like, he's not with us. I know who he is, but he's not with us, and I'm going to kill him.
Do you think Daryl did that kind of because, like, he saw his old cage? Like, his old where he was being kept to eat dog food. Like, do you think that made him snap a little bit more than normal, or do you think that he was going to do that no matter what?
I think that the way he's acting right now definitely is influenced by his time spent with the Saviors. I think that just brought it back to the surface again. But again, we'll talk about. Wait, did it happen? No, it happened at the end of this episode when he shoots that other guy, the kind of real young guy.
Yeah, who Rick said he'll let live. But
right.
The only thing, and I'm glad they're not hanging up on Rick, like, being upset about it, because with the whole Morgan storyline going on, they're flashing back to the speech that Rick gave where he's like, leave no one alive.
Yeah,
so
right.
He can't really be mad. Like, I understand he might want to be diplomatic now and again, but he can't get mad when people are literally just taking his advice.
No, absolutely. He can't. And I'm glad they're not doing that, because that would be a total Walking Dead like trope they would just walk right into.
Oh, God, drag it out for 4 or 5 episodes about how he's, I'm so conflicted.
Right. No, and I mean, and we'll dip into the next episode quick, but I mean, when Rick and Daryl run that guy off the road and take the guns back, clearly they're working as a team together, right? He doesn't care. This is what they have to do. Rick knows that. So yeah, I think that I'm glad they're not, but he's definitely noticed. You can tell Rick is noticing it. And then maybe it's more or less he has like a heart to heart with him, but he's doing the right thing. Daryl's doing the right thing. He has to. Like, you have to do that. What do you think about, speaking about like having to kill the Saviors, what do you think about the whole situation with Morgan and Jesus?
I don't know. I mean, I want to like Morgan, but his character is so flippy floppy.
And it's not even like a middle ground. He went from not refusing in any situation. People might still be alive in their crew if he had killed that the wolf member, right? The wolf guy, right?
Yeah.
People would still be alive. He didn't refuse to kill people, and now he's just fucking all willy-nilly just killing everybody and everything without abandon. With reckless abandon. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so, like, because when Rick first found him, like, well, not when he first found him, but like when he would like kind of pop up now and again, like when he lost his son, he was a maniac.
Yeah.
Like he had all those booby trap things. Remember when Rick found him in that building in that
Yeah.
random episode?
Yep.
And then he found the cheesemaker and he was a pacifist.
Yeah.
But now he's just like back to this.
Maniac.
I mean, he's clearly lost his mind.
Yeah, absolutely. He's gonna have to. I don't know what's gonna set him straight eventually, but or not. Maybe because of it he meets his demise. In this world where if you get caught slipping, you're gonna pay the price. I just think that it's such an unnecessary battle between them two, like a literal battle. They fought each other. Like why? That didn't need to happen.
No.
Morgan's being crazy. It's such a, I don't know. It's just a detriment to his character. He, like, all right, fine. Whether these guys, whether they live or die, right? Just take them back to the hilltop and decide there. If you want to execute them there, if that's the call, kill them. Like, why does there need to be this whole literal fight scene in the middle of the woods between Morgan and Jesus?
Yeah, that seemed a lot. It seems a little out of place, but
that's the least compelling.
So I mean,
that's the least compelling bit about these whole 2 episodes.
Because I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and it's just like we're over the reason why we like what Daryl and Rick are doing is because they're skipping that part.
Yes,
or they're just not addressing it because it's not important.
It's not important.
Like,
nope.
It's just not. Like you're so far into this. It's clearly about an us versus them now. Like, I'm sorry, but you can't roll up on people and start murdering them with machine guns, and then once someone has their hands up, change your tone.
Yes.
Like I mean, the Rick and all them last season they went and they shot everybody in the head while they were sleeping. Like, there's no coming back from that.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't regress to being gun shy. I mean,
you already planted your foot in the mud on this one. He needs to continue. Yeah.
I agree. And these last 3 or 4 episodes, there has been a lot of gunfire.
Yeah, a lot.
Like, insane amount.
Especially these last 2. It's like that it was incredible. I mean, I don't think it takes away from the episode at all, but I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, this is kind of madness.
I think the people at Walking Dead knew they needed to like turn this up. I didn't realize they were going to turn it up to this degree, but they're like they're really. I mean, there was a 2 episode gunfight between the Saviors and the Rick's people. I'll call them Rick's people, but that includes the Kingdom, that includes the Hilltop, where Aaron and Eric, right? Where Aaron and Eric were.
Yeah.
That was like a 2 episode fight almost. Like over there.
Because it's excuse me, it spilled into this episode.
Yeah. It's a lot. And then you got the whole thing with like they're trying to move the guns. They're trying clarify this for me. They're trying to move those big Brownings, the big guns, to the main hideout where the Saviors are, right? That's what the Saviors are trying to do. They're trying to like reinforce where Negan is.
Yes.
Okay. So I really like. Do you want to kind of? Well, hold on. Wait. Before we spill into the next one, let me see what else we got.
We have. I don't think it's in the doc, but we got Aaron and Eric. Like.
Yeah. So that whole
Eric
thing
died.
Yep. Eric's dead. That's sad. It's. I'll tell you what. I care more about. I'm trying. I like to put like levels on how much I care about people's deaths, from Glenn to shit. And I even forget her name now. Who is the lady who ran to Alexandria? That died.
The blonde hair?
Yeah. Shit. What the hell was her name?
She was like the one who was with the governor?
No. Sorry.
Oh.
Wait, Alexandria.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Who the hell was that? She was like she had a son and she had her husband.
Yeah.
Fuck? God damn it! This is how much I don't care.
They try to make her death like the most important thing in the world. It's
yeah.
Like, no, nobody gives a shit.
It goes from Deanna.
Yes.
Yeah. It goes from Glenn to Deanna, and I put Eric's death above Deanna's. Like I care. I'm more closer to Glenn. He was a pretty good character, and it's less about him dying and more that like the feelings you feel for Aaron, because Aaron's still alive and he loved him and all that. So, but that was...
Yeah, it was sad. I mean, we didn't really know too much about them. Like, we obviously knew they were together, but it wasn't You know, it wasn't like a Maggie and Glenn type of gut punch.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Which
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think it was supposed to serve as that. You know,
Yeah,
it was just kind of obviously I mean, I'm glad at least someone important, semi-important died, because you can't have all that bullets flying and tell me that. You know, you got to kill some people with all that mayhem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the way they set up, the way Greg Nicotero framed up that shot when Aaron walks over and realizes Eric's not there anymore, and then like everything starts running through your head, like, did he get up and walk away, or is he dead and now he's a walker? And of course he was a walker. And then like you have that really emotional shot, like the long distance shot of like, you know, Eric walking towards him and crying and whatnot. So I thought that was really, really well done, because they also had a really cool moment at the tree. It was probably the most beautiful shot in Walking Dead history. It was like Aaron leaning over Eric, and like the sun is in the background, like hitting through the trees. I don't know if you remember that. It was like
I do.
It was amazing.
It was gorgeous.
It was amazing. It's like they must have just stumbled upon that, because I've never seen that like that anything else that AMC has done with Walking Dead. It was pretty fantastic. So that was a nice little scene, a nice little send off for Eric, and too bad he's dead. But I don't know. Seems like that plan worked the way they wanted it to over in that area, and not so much where Ezekiel is.
Oh,
not so much at all.
I mean, he got a good speech.
Yeah, I love what you put here. It's like, he wants to murder everyone but lose nobody. And it's like that is like that did not happen. The opposite happened.
No, the opposite happened. And so that, and then there was also in the other episode. I have notes in a different one.
Yeah,
there was that quick like Gregory Maggie thing.
Yeah,
where he like came back to Hilltop, but that was kind of a.
Enough for Gregory.
More as filler, and you know what? Why is he still here? I'm sorry. How many times is he keeps
selling them down the river? The first time when not Dwight, who's the other guy that's like Negan's right hand man, the tall guy? I forget his name. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, exactly. Him, whatever his name is. The first time when he showed up to the Hilltop and Gregory almost sold them out and told them they were in the closet, but then they had moved already. That's the second you execute him. He's done. Right. He's done. He's a liability. I thought that they were going to open the gate, that little crack, and they were just going to pull the gun through and just fucking blast him in the head. I honestly thought that's how he was going to go. He's
still alive, and Maggie's. You know what? It's not a good sign. I don't think anything's going to happen to her, and I really hope nothing does. But people who show sympathy and people who show leniency do not have a good track record on The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't end up good for them. Trust is not a good character trait.
Yeah. And Edith, and even with Edith calling it out, it makes it's even worse for Maggie. When another character calls it out, it was like, how are you, even after all he's done? Like, that's what she says. And I was like, oh, it's not good. Especially because she's the public enemy number one. Her, Rick, and who's the other one they were looking? Oh, Ezekiel, Rick, and Maggie, because they're the three leaders of each location. So yeah, not looking good for her. I don't think anything will happen. Listen, let's be honest here. She's gonna have to show first before anything happens to her. There's no way that she can just die. And I know we talked about how it's real bad if you're going to kill a pregnant woman and she's showing. But also, you can't talk about her being pregnant all this time and not have her show being pregnant, because she still hasn't.
I mean, eventually, I need something.
I do. I need something. I thought, but Gregory should be gone. I want to talk for a second about Ezekiel. Do you find is it wearing on you, his like kingly accent?
It is.
It's wearing on me a lot. It's
out of place.
It is. It's just like the trash people. I didn't think it would, I didn't think the trash at first, when I first heard the trash people, I'm like, that was cool for literally 20 seconds. And then I'm like, I'm done with this. But now it took a little bit more time, but Ezekiel's king shtick it's coming to an end. My patience is wearing thin with that. But let's roll into the next episode so we can talk a little bit more about that.
I actually just wanted to bring something up because we talked about this a little bit before going live. Dan Liu directed this episode.
Yep.
Right. some guy.
some guy.
And you had mentioned how it had like a different feel from any other Walking Dead episode.
Yeah, big time.
So I had looked at his IMDb quick, and it said he was a part of 21 previous episodes.
Yeah.
So it turns out he was the editor on the previous 20. This was his television directorial debut.
Oh, dude, he's got to come back for more. He's got to come back for more. He did a hell of a job this episode.
That opened before the credits with Ezekiel, like, just kind of Ezekiel in the room, kind of getting ready for battle type of thing.
Yeah.
And then the speech, and then just the chaos.
Yeah, we are one, and then it fades to like everybody around him, and then it fades to from the above shot, which I loved, and then just a pile of bodies on top of Ezekiel because they protected him. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I thought that was really one of the better opening scenes they've had in a while.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it makes total sense because I think it's so valuable having an editor turn director. Like that's such a great path for something like this because like when he's editing Walking Dead, he's the guy who's making the pacing and like how it feels. But he's not the one putting the visuals out there. Now you have a guy who's very experienced editing, and he's also shooting, so he knows what the finished product should and could look like. Mm-hmm. So he's putting it all together. I think that's fucking awesome. That's so cool. And I knew it. From the second I was watching this, I was like, there's something special about this episode. And it was him, Dan Liu. It was awesome. I mean, I'm sure he's not listening to this, but he did a tremendous job, and he needs to come on for more episodes. I mean, it was great. And it was so different. You could tell. You could tell it was different.
Yeah, it just had a different pace. It had a different feel. And this was kind of like, this is how they should do a quote unquote spotlight episode. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, this was really Ezekiel, but they peppered in enough other storylines to keep it going.
Yeah, they didn't just focus.
In the past, when they tried to do just like a character study, it hasn't worked. I thought this worked. This was my favorite one of the season. Probably my favorite one since last season's premiere. This was just really, really good. I mean, you got to know a little bit more about Ezekiel. The voice still bothers me a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's a little bit better when he's not giving a speech.
Yeah.
But I mean, cool. We got to know a little bit about his background with him and Shiva. Like, he was a zookeeper and he saved her. And a lot of this was about him and just kind of him. He seemed to have almost like a death wish in this episode. I think he seemed to have a tremendous amount of guilt for surviving that attack because people gave their lives for him.
Yeah.
And I think throughout the episode, and you kind of saw it at the end, he's kind of coming around to, like, this I'm your king thing isn't going to work in this world. Like, he doesn't have the heart. Like, Negan could do it. Like, Negan will throw someone in front of him as a human shield.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ezekiel has the heart for that, where whether it's purposely or not, I mean, these people believe in Ezekiel, which is a good thing, but if they're giving their life for him, like, I don't think he's going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, this was a big episode for him, and I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. I liked that we got a little bit of Ezekiel's backstory. I thought that was cool. He definitely had I agree with you. He definitely had a death wish. He definitely felt guilty for all those people that gave their lives. And I think that this was maybe the first time that he realized what a detriment him being like a quote unquote king was to his people. Like, they bought into this like head over heels. And now they're going into battle. And of course, what is the people that are fighting beside their king going to do when bullets start flying? They're going to protect them. And I don't think he realized the gravity of the situation until, it was too late, until they were all dead bodies were piled on top of him. But thank God Jerry was still alive. Thank God. Right, Jerry. Jerry's his name, right?
Yeah, with that battle axe. Oh my God! Even that shot, like, how awesome was that?
Oh yeah, when he sliced that guy. Half. Oh my God, right down the middle, man. That was crazy. He cut that guy straight down the middle, but that battle axe could not break a lock. Could not break a lock. And I was like,
Ollie and I were talking about that. I'm like, come on, like, just cut a human being in half. Like,
yeah, you gotta save some of that sharpness for the thing. I feel like there was so many things they could have did in that situation instead of just being huddled up against the fence.
Yeah.
And then when he broke the axe in the fence, I was like, god damn it. Like, why not? Why not just take the axe and just start cutting down walkers left and right?
Right. I just wanted to backtrack just a quick second.
Yeah.
In that opening scene, I loved how they slowly built to all the, what's Ezekiel's army called?
The kingdom, right?
The kingdom. Yeah. All the kingdom people, like, slowly coming back to life as zombies. Not life, but
yes,
slowly reanimating. Yeah. Like, because, you knew it was going to happen, but they didn't rush it.
Yeah.
Like, they focused on everyone's faces still dead, and then the noises started coming, and then they started getting, waking back up, and oh man, I just, that whole scene, I really liked that. I thought that was awesome. And that's something that, like, it's just such an added element of danger.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I survived this massive assault. I'm all alone now. Oh wait, now everyone who's just dead is now a zombie.
And
it's like
all the people that just protected me.
Yeah.
Yeah, are now attacking me. And I think there's like a deeper meaning there with like the way how we were just talking about how Ezekiel is like, this king thing is not working. I think that this was almost like a nightmare for him. Like he realized the error of his ways. It was too late, right? But now these people are like coming back from the dead and they're like, they're getting revenge on him. And I think like maybe in his head, that's what he was feeling. Like because you can tell in that scene, like obviously his leg's all fucked up, but he's feeling very overwhelmed because like all these people just died for him, and now they're like coming back to exact vengeance, and like maybe like because obviously that's not what's happening. They're just mindless zombies, but in his head, that's how he could be processing it, and that's why maybe like he's so frantic and whatnot in that scene. But you're right, that was just a fantastic opening scene in general. Let's flip it to just on the other side of the fence before we move on to Ezekiel. Move on with Ezekiel. Right on the other side of the fence in there, Carol is one of the survivors from that whole big blast, and she's moving through and trying to take out the remaining saviors that are in the building, taking the guns out, which she does in tremendous fashion.
Yes. Yeah, that like through the ceiling. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool. She climbs up in the ceiling, sprays down, kills the first round, but then the second round. But you can tell they're very like they want to get those guns out of there. That's what's important. So they even like just leave her be for a while. But then she ends up coming back. She pulls a little trickery, grabbing one of the hostage, and so when she grabbed the guy hostage, and the other guys were like, he fucked up, like he slipped, let's kill him. Did you think that she thought that was going to happen? Or do you think she was like, just like she thought that she would hold them hostage and they would drop their guns?
I think I don't think she thought they were going to shoot the guy.
Yeah,
like
no,
that, at least
either.
that, not that quickly. Like,
yeah,
that was pretty brutal. Some of those guys don't give a shit.
Nope. There he was just like, hey, he fucked up. He said something like that. He was like, he slipped or he got caught slipping or whatever, and then just shot him. And that was it. But her plan worked. She hit the button. The gate opened. Zombies poured in. There was only 2 guys left. And then she was put up with, she was brought forward, and she had a tough choice to make. Either smoke these guys out who are hiding on the other side of the Humvee where the guns are loaded up, or go over and help Jerry and Ezekiel, who are on the other side of a locked fence, and they can't seem to get through.
Even though they had a battle axe.
And she
and
makes,
I think that kind of, I think that kind of showed you like how she feels about Ezekiel.
Definitely. And how
she choose him over the plan.
Yeah. And how she's changed too as a character, and maybe Ezekiel helped because she really likes Ezekiel. But if this was Carol like shooting little girls in the head, Carol, like she probably would have just stayed the course, and let Ezekiel meet his demise because he's not tough enough or whatever.
Or hadn't figured out or whatever.
Yeah, whatever smart ass thing she would have said about him dying. But now, like she needs to go help Ezekiel because I think she really respects him.
I do too.
Yeah, and what he's done for like his people, regardless of the stupid shtick of being king. So she goes over and helps him, and those guys get away. But just but just for a minute. I love that. I love that she was like, they were like, oh, the guns are getting away. And then Carol's like, no, they're not. And she hears like the motorcycle, right? That's what cued her up, right? She heard the motorcycle coming. And of course, Daryl and Rick are on the case, taking these guys down. That also was a great scene. The highway chase scene. That was awesome. Like, that's something that we don't see a lot in Walking Dead anymore. Any like grand scenes like that. That was great. It was simple. No. It was so simple.
It's all like, it's all like hand to hand or gunfire. Or...
Yeah. It was so simple.
It was very good.
Yeah. I gotta say, I like seasons where Daryl's on his motorcycle a lot. I mean,
I do too.
That's the character he's built all this time. Let's keep it going. Get him on his motorcycle. I thought that scene was great. They chase him down. They shoot the guy in the back. They run off the road. They have the guns now. I don't know how they're going to get the guns back on Daryl's motorcycle, but I mean, they
got some figuring out to do.
They got some figuring out to do. Although I guess like the Jeep could still be around. Rick jumped from the Jeep to the Humvee, so I guess the Jeep is still maybe okay, but they still got to lug those guns up the hill, like little grassy knoll. And then we come to the part of the episode where there's, really pulled on my heartstrings.
Yeah, so it's, Rick and Daryl saved the day as far as the guns go, and then Carol, Jerry, and Ezekiel had to trek through really what was looked like a really terrible place. I don't know if that was the only way to get to where they had to go. I guess it was, but just like looking at, and like those zombies were clearly like I don't know, like
they were like it was a chemical.
Bleach
they were like,
white. Yeah.
Did you notice that like Ezekiel got frantic when they got to that point, like more than usual?
He definitely saw. It reminded me kind of like the Hound, like when he sees fire.
Right. Perfect. That's a great comparison. That's how I felt. He got like a little frantic.
Maybe he was in a toxic spill when he was a child.
I mean, maybe that's why he talks like that. I don't know. But
he's just incredibly delusional.
But I just wish that they had touched more on that, like for a back. Like they did touch on his backstory, but that would have been a cool element to add into it. If that is the case, like what's the story there?
Right. Yeah, he definitely looked a little spooked.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely looked a little spook.
And then. So then he's still, I mean, you got to keep in mind he's got a broken leg, and he keeps telling Carol and why can't I remember Jerry? He keeps telling Carol and Jerry like, leave me, and Jerry won't. And they get into this huge argument. Stop calling me king, which is nice. Like I think that's when he really came to like, you calling me king and treating me like this is what got so many of you killed. Like he didn't say that, but that's how I took it. And then he just like couldn't make it up. Like he couldn't make it up that little hill. And then Shiva comes to the rescue, like the beautiful creature that she is.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, she gets eaten by the chemical zombies.
I really didn't think walkers were gonna take Shiva down.
Hold on.
Yeah. I did not see walkers. These stupid zombie walkers taking down Shiva. Like Shiva saved the day back in their settlement when the saviors and the trash people first attacked. She like saved the day. But it was very sad to see her get taken down by these walkers. I thought for sure that like another savior or something would do her in, But
yeah, and that is how she dies in the comics. I just
really?
want to verify. I read her death. She dies in All Out War.
Okay.
Like she dies in the war between Rick and Negan.
Okay. She gets killed
and it's
by
pretty much
walkers?
the same. Yeah, it's kind of the same scenario. Like Ezekiel's surrounded, and she comes in and like kills a bunch of them, and basically draws all the attention to herself, and they end up taking her out.
Yeah.
But Ezekiel has this like badass eulogy for her. Which I hope I don't know if they're going to get into or not, but it's so good in the books. Like
I'm
the way
sure
it's
they'll.
written,
I'm sure they'll.
It was so.
Yeah. Cool. I look forward to that then if they do it.
Yeah, it was a really good eulogy. I mean, maybe he'll change his voice for it. I don't know. But it's funny because I've read like I'm past where we are in the comics, and I never like, how like you'll read certain characters and their voices.
Yeah.
When I was reading Ezekiel, I never in a million years would have given him the voice of like King Lear or like a Shakespearean
Yeah.
god. It's weird.
That's funny.
But then there's like at the end of the episode, Ezekiel walks by that kid who he had kind of. He was still the leader when he saw the kid before they went into battle and everyone died.
Yep.
Earlier in the episode, and then when he walks by the kid at the end, a defeated man, he just doesn't even have like strength or the heart or to even to tell him what happened. Like he's a broken man at this point.
Yeah.
Went through a crazy transition this whole episode, like from what he started as, with that speech to, I mean, just barely surviving. It was a crazy episode for one character.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope they don't really. I'm sure the next couple episodes he's gonna be a little messed up, but I hope that he gets back to, gets his confidence back and realizes that the battle still needs to be won. I think that, he'll have to realize that his people did not die in vain, and as the good king he is, I think that that's what he'll realize, and get right back on the proverbial horse and get back out there.
Yeah, because they're gonna need him. I mean,
they're definitely going to need him.
I think they've had a little too much good fortune these past couple episodes, and last time that happened, Glenn got hit with a baseball bat, as did Abraham, so...
Yes. Yeah.
You don't want to get the odds too much in your favor in this universe, especially with Negan still lurking. And it looks like he's going to be finally back. Him and Gabriel just been hanging out in that trailer for a while.
Seriously, they've been in there for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch the previews for next week?
I didn't. Well, what did they show?
So it was him. So he's part of it, and then it's actually a lot of the saviors. Like they show like Negan and Father Gabriel, and then they show like a round table of all the saviors. Basically, just the guy like Negan's number 2 with the mustache.
Yeah.
He's like, there's a rat. Somebody told him. So I think they might be zeroing in on Dwight.
Ooh, shit. That's not gonna be good for Dwight. I hope Dwight makes it out and is able to like actually fight for the other side. Because I do
Dwight too. Like it would kind of suck if he just died.
Yeah, I like Dwight a lot. And I feel like his character would be wasted just to be found out as the rat and then, like you just said, like killed.
Right.
So, yeah, I hope he has a chance to come to Rick's side and help. And him and Daryl should be able to fight side by side on the battlefield. I feel like. I don't know. I
think that would be kind of like a cool way to maybe defeat Negan.
Yeah, definitely.
Have them two side by side. I don't know if Daryl will ever do it, but he's clearly he's warming up to him if he accepted all his directions and stuff.
Yeah, and like they were sending those letters back and forth to each other via arrow.
Arrow pen pal.
Yeah, that was wild. Maybe like I could see in the future maybe Daryl fighting with Dwight, and then maybe not with Dwight, but like alongside Dwight, and then maybe like Dwight, sacrifices himself or like whatever for them, and like and that kind of also would help Daryl get over like his like PTSD of him being locked up. Like this guy that had me locked up is just a guy like me. Like he was just trying to do the right thing in his situation.
Like they're all very close to being each other. You know what I mean?
It's
a very fine thing.
Yeah.
It's just one decision here, one decision there. That's it.
Yeah, and I think that's, now you say that, like that's a very interesting parallel there between Negan, Dwight, and Rick and Daryl.
Yeah.
Right? That's very like, I'm sure there's something there,
and they both think like what they're doing is right. Although from what we've seen, like even though we might root for Rick and his crew more, like doesn't make them right.
Yeah, I could see a show. Like, I could see Walking Dead being told from the Savior's side, and I could see how if we knew the Saviors and knew Negan and stuff, I'm sure Negan's kind of cruel and, aggressive with a baseball bat. Right. But I could see how that works. I just started playing a new video game, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and the story mode, the campaign, is you're playing from the point of view of a stormtrooper, and everything like oddly makes sense because like you're being told the story from that side. So you're right. I think that like all these people think they're doing the right thing, and like we're rooting for Rick's side, but Rick could easily look like a bad guy from the other side of the line.
Absolutely.
So I love that, and I love how they're kind of like playing with that. They've done it in past seasons as well, how Rick is always like to have that question of like, is Rick doing the right thing? Is he the bad guy in this situation? I think they're really kind of like with Negan, they're testing that more than ever. So
Absolutely.
That idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, because they're kind of close.
Yeah. Absolutely. For sure. Absolutely. I just the trailer for Rampage just came out, The Rock.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in it.
Is he really?
Yeah, and he has the very same cadence that he does in The Walking Dead. Like he's like,
that's funny.
It's almost like he's Negan in Rampage. You'll have to watch the trailer.
I'm gonna watch it. I'll probably watch it at some point.
Yeah,
tonight.
watch it. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's a Rock movie. It's like San Andreas with giant monsters. I don't know. It's something. But yeah, check it out. Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in it, and he's like he has the same like kind of like Negan-esque talk, the way he talks. So yeah, check that out. But I think that's it. Two good episodes. Two great episodes, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very pleasantly surprised about these about this season of Walking Dead. Especially after last season, which I didn't hate, but it wasn't as good as some other seasons. That happens, especially when you go on for 8 seasons.
Right. I mean, everyone who's expecting like just every episode to be perfect, it's not going to work that way. But I don't know. They've rebounded these last 2, and I'm excited. Because I kind of know how it goes with this storyline. Yeah. If they stick to the comics, which I mean they kind of have to. But I'm excited to see how it plays out on TV. It's going to be very interesting.
Cool. Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm excited to see how. So how many more episodes do we have before the break?
5, 6, 7, 4.
4 more. Okay. Cool.
Because I think they do in increments of 8.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. Very, very good. So what do we got coming up? So we're gonna keep talking about Walking Dead. Are you watching Mr. Robot at all?
Not yet.
Yeah. So,
but I'm working in overnight shifts Sunday into Monday.
Yeah.
So I was gonna plan on watching as much as I can.
Well, by next episode, if both of us have caught up or at least watch up to a certain point, maybe we'll splice in some Mr. Robot, because I haven't seen any of it this season so far, and I'm very sad about that because I love Mr. Robot. So maybe we'll add that in. This is a very exciting time of year. The Golden Globes just put out some of their nominees, or all of their nominees. Get Out, of course, was put into the category of musical, or slash comedy, which is an interesting categorization.
Like how? How did they come to that decision?
There has to be a good reason for why they do it, but whatever that reason is needs to be changed. That's wrong. This is just The Martian being a comedy. It's like, I understand it was funny. It was a sci-fi movie. It was a drama almost, right? It's not. I wouldn't care.
It's a story of survival.
Yeah, Old School is a comedy. 40-Year-Old Virgin is a comedy. Like Grease is a musical. Get Out is neither of those things. No. I put out. Did you see the tweet that I put out on Make Movies Great Again? So
I think I did.
So I said I did like a thing like me, and then the Golden Globes, like it's like a script. It's like me. So in the movie, the main character gets tricked into going to a party where he's hypnotized against his will and auctioned off because he's black. And then the Golden Globes say, that's hilarious. Is there a musical number? I thought that was so. But that's so crazy. There has to be a reason why, but that reason needs to change. Whatever that is, that's a broken rule. That needs to go out the window.
It's just wrong.
Anyway, so we got exciting stuff. It's awards season coming up, and that's our bread and butter. We had that epic Average Nobodies podcast last year where we were actually recording while the fuck up with Warren Beatty.
Yeah, they read the wrong.
Pick a La La Land when it was really Moonlight. Thought that was awesome. That's our main video on our YouTube page. So if you want to see that, just go to youtube.com/Average Nobodies and you'll see it. Yeah. So we got exciting stuff coming up. Again, Walking Dead again next week. Hopefully Mr. Robot. And then, people watching People versus the Internet. It's not looking good for People versus the Internet. It hasn't been a great month for people in Hollywood either.
It's not. Today it spread to Washington.
Yeah, well, there's so many like scumbags in Washington I've seen over the past couple of days. It's crazy.
Al Franken is the newest one.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I guess it's just no like actual decent human beings. So decent men.
Yeah.
I guess I should say.
I was in a live stream, not a live stream. I was watching a live stream. This like podcast I watch every week. It's a gaming podcast, and someone in the comments goes, "Did you hear about Weird Al Yankovic?" And I was like, "Oh fuck!" I was like, "What happened to Weird Al?" Right? Like I thought it was like, it's going to be like a fucking child porn ring or something like that, like something terrible.
Yeah.
But then the people who were doing the live stream were like, "Oh no, what happened to Weird Al?" Like they were looking it up, and the guy's like, "Oh, nothing. I'm just I like him. I wanted to know what you guys thought about Weird Al." Like clearly trolling, but it's like that's what news is like now. Like you wake up and you look at your phone and you see Louis C.K. and you're like, "Oh fuck." And now you're just going to start seeing every time someone's name pops up in the headlines from Hollywood or from DC, you're going to be like, oh, shit, what's going on now?
Honestly, when I see someone's name, I think they either like molested someone or they died.
Yeah. That's what our life is now. That's what life is now in America.
Isn't that awful?
It's terrible.
So
It's terrible. It's awful.
When we were in Mexico, we were sitting by the pool, and one of Holly's friends, because we were talking about it the night before, and one of Holly's friends, like the next day, she goes, "Oh my God, Ryan, look!" And she shows me her phone, and it's just a picture of Tom Hanks, and I was like, "I'm gonna drown myself in the pool."
Yeah.
But it was the like another actress accuses Tom Hanks of being nice. I'm like, oh
yeah.
my God.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, if we lose Tom Hanks, then it's over.
Tom Hanks is I don't know what I would do. I would have to completely change the way that I think about like actors in Hollywood. Yeah, humans. Yeah, the human race. If Tom Hanks ever goes down for something like, I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I don't know, but it's terrible.
Hey, you know what though? The world they still have us.
They do still have us. We can promise you that we have a clean. I mean, we don't have a clean history, but we definitely don't have any of these charges in there. I'm not locking people in rooms and jerking off in the corner. I promise you that's never going to come out.
I'm making them listen to it. That's just, I don't know. It's just not something that's ever crossed my mind to do.
It's just not. It's just
not a thing. Crazy.
Yeah, it's just not a thing we do. So you're safe here. You're safe here with the average nobodies. Matt and Ryan, we'll treat you good.
Where everyone's safe place.
Yes, exactly. All right, I think we're going to wrap up there. We'll be back next week. Subscribe. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and YouTube. And until then, we'll catch you later. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Matt. Everyone, enjoy your week. We'll see you next week.